Alright, we're gonna do this build video a little different. So this was pretty awesome. I originally built this out because I found this Uber amulet. I love it, the Melted Heart of Tom Selleck. That it inspired me to build a basic attack build that was just super tanky, could take on any of the bosses, tier 100 dungeons, all of that fun stuff. So I did it. I came here and now I can do some damage. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy. So let's look at the expertise first. The one I'm using is two-handed sword expertise because I am a lucky man. But if you can use two-handed expertise, two-handed axe expertise with the Ancient's Oath, it gives you 50% extra damage when you chuck your chains out, which that's a lot. That ends up being like about that big of a difference. No, way more. Yeah, big difference. So when you chuck your chains out, you can actually see how high your attack power goes. So two-handed axe expertise if you can with Ancient's Oath, and then again, I'm using two-handed sword expertise because of the grandfather. Haha. Thank you. I'm so happy I got it. Very lucky. I know not everybody can be lucky, but I made this around Ancient's Oath, so don't worry. Make it. You're good. So for my skills, I used Flay as my base with Battle Flay because I wanted to increase my bleeding damage. I'm actually going to switch that right now because for a long time I was going for Rupture, and you can do these really cool things to mobs, but when it came to bosses, they were really slow, so I've had to change it up a little bit. I have no core skills. I do have Endless Fury because of Tom Selleck's heart. I want extra Fury. That's going to give me more survivability, but if you do not have the Melted Heart, I would just take these three out and put them anywhere else, and you're going to be just absolutely happy. I put one into Tough as Nails because we're doing a lot of damage reduction from bleeding. We have about, I think, 40% here. Yeah, so that is also good. We also do additional damage with bleeding and to bleeding. So there's 278, which is kind of spread thin. I don't really need that, but an extra 90%. So you're doing almost 100% more damage, or yeah, 2 times the damage. So you may as well just put one into this so you have bleeding thorns that you can apply to everyone. I put 3 into additional maximum life because of the vampire powers. When you actually stack Hemomancy up with your Barbarian, you can apply this physical damage. So damage with physical, where is it? Right here. This 200% applies to this, so I'm not doing 80% of my health. I'm hitting closer to like 50,000 with my Hemomancy. So that's really cool. It heals. It's really nice. It's a great vampire power. We'll get into those in a little bit. So yeah, extra health on Imposing Presence. Challenging Shout, I want that extra health. I ended up doing Thorns because why not? Who cares? I don't really need, well, I mean, I guess extra Fury. Okay, we'll do it. Either way, both of those are good. I'm using the Fury because of Tom Selleck's heart again. But otherwise, I'd recommend using Thorns. So I also got Warcry, just 1 point there, and for Berserking, I didn't need Fortify, and then I don't really care for the extra 10% damage, so I just put the skill in Booming Voice to extend the duration, which is really nice. Of course, we all are putting 3 into Swiftness, 3 into damage reduction while berserking, because there's this awesome helmet. I don't have it on me right now, but that Barbarian helmet gives you +3 to that passive, and you end up getting 28%. Yeah, you can get up to 4 skill points in this, which gives you 28% damage reduction while berserking. So if you're using this build and you're using Steel Grasp, you see a ton of enemies coming up, you just can pull them to you. You get berserking, so you're going to get that extra pretty much 30% damage reduction. Your bleeds will give you 40%, and then you have an inherent 10%, so you're immediately looking at 78% damage reduction from that point. And that doesn't include like damage reduction from close, your overall damage reduction that you get on your affixes. So it's a really good combination there. Death Blow, of course, everybody's been using it. I threw on Overkill because I needed something to hit a little bit harder to my single target, so I did that. 3 to Pit Fighter, 2 to No Mercy, which I guess I could do more because my crit strike chance is atrocious on this build. I definitely recommend if you can get more, do it, but I've just been holding on to my 15% crit chance elixirs that I've gotten from the Hell Tides. So Rupture, really awesome. You only need 1 point into it the way this build works, and if you have, what is this called? Rage of Haragath, you're going to have a lot of cooldowns as well, because this build just hits a lot with Rupture. It's crazy. So I did 40% attack speed to increase that attack speed with the Ancient's Oath originally, but it's just nice. You can do healing if you need it. That's a huge heal. I put 3 into Cut to the Bone because I was focusing on that bleeding, so I could probably redirect this, but I'm liking where it's at right now, so I don't want to make that change. 3 into Defensive Stance. I used to be a lot more fortified, so I could probably adjust that, but fortify is always great. 3 into Heavy-Handed, and then I did Unconstrained because all of this damage reduction is coming from being berserked. Yeah. Whew, that was a mouthful on why it all works together. So then, let's get into the Paragons. As always, the most complex part. So, always exploit, everybody uses it. 62% vulnerable damage, that's really good. I used it in the first slot just because I was experimenting with a lot of things. It's really good, definitely get those rare nodes. Then, for my first board, I chose Hemorrhage because I was focusing bleeding again. So my bleeding damage is increased by 15%. Holy cow, I could probably change this, but I'm too afraid to. I don't know if you've seen what the bleeding does, but we'll pull that up in a sec. So I use Hemorrhage and Ire for my first board. You can get 74% damage while berserking, where most of our damage is coming from. But yeah, let's look at this. Satisfying Rupture. What's so satisfying about this? See, so we get these different clips. That's just from 1 hit, you know? And then Steel Grasping. This is Forever Go, tier 65 at 98. Here's 1 long single hit, so you can see kind of what it does. Let's see. Okay. 1 Rupture. Hits like a katana from an anime, blows them all up. So I've been loving using this just for the mobs and the elites on the way. But again, needed more damage with the Death Blow, which I didn't focus on too much, but on this next board, Decimator has a lot of extra vulnerable damage to give. I used Imbiber, again, 107% damage while healthy is great, and then I'm using the Melted Heart of Tom Selleck, so you know how it goes. Then my last board, I used Blood Rage because I was doing bleeding again. I considered that legendary node, but I needed the fire resist with the gear I had. It's amazing. And damage to bleeding enemies is amazing since we're using those blood thorns is what I call them. You'll be doing just 20% more. You get damage reduction there. Another 20%, 30, 35. So from each of these, you're getting an additional 35% damage to bleeding. Right now I'm using Wrath. It's not all the way maxed. I was using Disembowel, which is pretty good here. It added another 70% damage, physical damage over time, but I realized I didn't really need that. Needed more damage to the elites, so here I am leveling that at 19. So yeah, I will put a link of how the build works down below. We can probably throw in some additional clips, but how about instead we just run this dungeon? Yeah. I almost forgot about the gear though. So first, the gear. We have the aspect of Disobedience, which I needed for the armor because I was going for that beef, you know? And then I had the attack, so it's great. I use Rage of Haragath. Definitely great for your cooldowns. Keep those rolling. Direct damage against bleeding enemies can stun them, so that stun is really awesome. It works on bosses, so I was just focusing on being the best tank I could. This Tybalt's Will, everybody knows. I'm a fan of that plus Metamorphosis. You automatically get that unstoppable, so you're getting 30% more damage plus great stats and 20% damage reduction from close again. So we stack up that onto the 78% that comes from our skills and our Paragon. We're looking pretty good. That's 98%, and that's not the end of it, so pretty good. The boots. We use the weapon mastery here because on both of my two-handed weapons I am using a unique overkill and of course the grandfather. Again, it was Ancient's Oath, which worked fantastic with this. Melted Heart of Tom Selleck, X-Vals, or Vals, or fucking whatever, Corroded Signet. These dropped all the time when I was doing Duriel runs. You could get one in no time. I use it for the Eruption, which I was kind of showing you with Rupture. And the basic skills I'm using because I wanted to be able to generate Fury for this to stay alive. For my single-handed, I just kind of picked stats that I like. Of course, vulnerable damage, crit strike, strength, and then I don't have a core skill anymore, so that's unfortunate. But the aspect is really good because as I'm using the Melted Heart, I can fill my Fury, and then once that's filled, I can just chuck all my skills and it doesn't go down. So that's great. My weapon mastery, 100%. We want those to do more damage because those are the skills I'm using for my damage. And that's everything. So yeah. I think I forgot to mention Deathblow because I'm using Tom Selleck's Heart. We just focus on things that give us extra Fury, because in the end that's also like a heal or survivability or extra damage if the situation permits. So it's a pretty cool build altogether. The vampire powers, as you know, Metamorphosis, Hemomancy, Prey on the Weak, everybody loves extra vulnerable damage, and here I'm using Resilience and Undying because that will heal me with my basic. If I'm hitting, not only am I healing, but I'm generating Fury with the Melted Heart. So it's really, really awesome, keeps me alive. I can just run whatever casually, so let's see how we can go. So I have my last critical strike chance, Elixir. Let's bust this out. And then take a look at the stats all together. Oh, that's what I get for talking. Fine, we'll look at the stats now. Oh. I love how I'm talking so much smack about how great it is in dungeons and I just die instantly. So we'll have the one life. That's okay. So, strength, all that fun stuff. My resistances. Shadow resistance is atrocious, but yeah, just take a look and know where you would need to be around where I'm at. I'll link the tier 100 run so you guys can see how that goes when I'm focusing up. It's pretty good, pretty easy. I enjoyed it. I like this build. It's a lot of fun with big mobs too, so running with friends is always fun, and coming across events in lower dungeons, you can just boop on everything for your friends. It's great. So let's go. Anyways, let's go.
I need time to do that. I need more time.
So honestly, I think I did a bit better with Disembowel, but play around with it. I had a lot of fun. It carried me safely through beginning to end while never feeling weak, and I didn't really have to change very much up. So yeah, give it a shot. I hope you like it. If you do, hit like, subscribe, share that. I appreciate you. I'll be posting a little bit more of a variety here coming out just because I feel like I've beat the game. So see you next season in Diablo, and we'll see what else comes around.